From jazz to hip-hop. From rock to techno. No one follows the beat of Detroit's music scene quite like Freak.com, the site only the Detroit Free Press could deliver.
It's been 40 years since Aretha Franklin's version of Respect hit #1 in the Billboard Pop Singles charts. It came at a time of change. Respect served as a backdrop to the everyday struggles of African Americans and women, and its message was so powerful that it translated across racial lines. This is the story of that song and the voice behind it. Aretha's sound rose out of the church, but not just any church, her daddy's church.
It doesn't make any difference what you have or how much you have.
The Reverend C.L. Franklin was a Detroit icon with a national influence. Among his friends, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
And you served a noble purpose.
You have to understand that gospel singing and soul singing and Motown singing, there was a convergence. Aretha Franklin came out of the church. To a large extent, the civil rights movement came out of the church, the black church.
Oh,
man. That young lady didn't need a microphone. She could turn her church out. Still can.
Well, I think it is really, what we call in the gospel field the anointing. There are some people that are called to sing and some people that are chosen from birth. And she was chosen from birth to sing.
Aretha had the voice. She just needed the song. She found it already out there, written and first recorded by soul man Otis Redding.
what you want, honey, you got it. And what you need, baby, you got it. All I'm asking for you to say when I come home.
Otis Redding was a poet, both a poet with his own voice and then in the words that he wrote. He was a very unique individual and pretty important in all of contemporary American music.
But there was a second version of Redding's song already out there. Ann Arbor blue-eyed soul band The Rationals also recorded Respect, releasing it in 1966. Legend has it that after hearing The Rationals version, Aretha and her sisters Carolyn and Irma realized that this was a song uniquely suited to them.
The way I heard it was that Carolyn was doing the vocal arrangements, and she probably heard the fact that we were doing the horn parts with vocals and said, well, we can do that, but much better. And they did, of course. And then they funked it up a lot better than our little white boy version.
In early 1967, Aretha goes into a studio to record Respect.
What you want, baby, I got it.
Atlantic Records' main producer, Jerry Wexler, believed that if a singer played an instrument on a song, it added a layer of emotion and soul.
It happens that Aretha is a brilliant pianist, a cross between Thelonious Monk, maybe, and Mildred Falls, the great gospel accompanist.
Aretha knows how to play the piano, and it makes it so much easier when you're in a studio with somebody that knows the composition. You know why? They can tell you what they want.
The whole thing was just orchestrated brilliantly. The timing was great on it. The funny thing about that, and a lot of people don't know, that vocal was cut when she had a cold. And if you really listen, there's a couple of spots where you can hear that she's not at her vocal best. In particular on the line, what you need. What you need! And it's not a broken note, but it's like a little like, oh my goodness.
What you need, you know I got it.
And my father, he and I talked about this years ago, and he was saying how they were all a little concerned that maybe they should go back in and recut the vocal on it. And for whatever reason, they decided to just let it ride. And it went on into history.
And as for Redding, who wrote and first recorded it, you could hear his respect for Aretha at the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival, just months before his tragic death in December.
This is our song, is a song that a girl took away from me. Good friend of mine. This girl, she just took this song, but I'm still gonna do it anyway.
It's definitely got its own groove. Otis's thing was more like ba, ba, and hers is
when she put her spin on it and she added her big vocals to it, it just gave it a little swing, you know, and all of a sudden, respect.
She did it with an attitude.
I would like to call that Aretha-sizing.
The success of Aretha Franklin's version had a lot to do with the time.
We shall overcome.
We always sang songs about things we didn't have. You know, we said we shall overcome. Well, we hadn't overcome, but we sang we shall overcome. And when Aretha came out with respect, we were not getting any respect. Black folks were being disrespected, being beat down, being killed, trying to get the right to vote. And so when she came out with this song, Respect, it was just like she was fulfilling not only the urgency of the movement at that time, but she made known through her song that we were going to get respect.
It was just such a song that penetrated all aspects of the lives of black women. And it's interesting, when I think of that song, it takes me all the way back to 1851 when Sojourner Truth spoke at a women's convention in Akron, Ohio. And she presented what I call her anthem in poetry at that time in her speech, Ain't I a Woman?
Now, that man over there says that women needs to be lifted over ditches and helped in the carriages and have the best place everywhere. And nobody ever helped me into a carriage or over a mud puddle or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman?
Whenever I quote Sojourner Truth's Ain't I a Woman poem, I always follow it up with, and give me some R.E.S.P.E.C.T.
What I'm talking about is R.E.S.P.E.C.T. That's what it means to me.
Just in case you didn't understand what I'm saying, I'm going to spell it out for you. Here it goes, you know what I'm saying?
R.E.S.P.E.C.T. Find out what it means to me. R.E.S.P.E.C.T. Take F-T-C-T.
So 40 years after the song's release, Aretha Franklin's Respect still gets respect for being one of the best pop music recordings of all time.
It's timeless. You know, the horns, the rhythm section, the groove, it's just timeless, you know. And the message is timeless. Even today, people are, you know, want their respect. And it's important to have respect. So that's why the song has so much longevity.
Have people really gained the respect and dignity that human beings should have? The answer, unfortunately, is no. And so, with that in mind, the song is just as fresh.